guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, I cannot believe Hobonichi month has now come and passed and I have not bought a single Hobonichi item. A single one. And especially not a Hobonichi Weeks. Can I please get a round of applause? Thank you. No, seriously, like that's quite the big feat. If you guys have seen any of my previous videos, you guys know how much I love the weeks. Or like just like the thought of the week, because I'm not sure I've really finished one. But I would get one every single year, sometimes twice a year, because obviously you have to get the spring release. So I've bought them since like 2018, so for the past 5 years. So it's a pretty big deal that I did not buy one this year. And I am going to explain why I didn't. And maybe for those of you guys who are on the fence about getting one or really wanting one, but no, you shouldn't, maybe in this video, I can convince you as well that you do not need to buy a Weeks this year. So I'm gonna timestamp this video with kind of my reasons, and you can go to a specific one if you choose to. So let's go right over to the flat lay, and I'm gonna do a little bit of convincing. Okay, so let's talk through this, guys. So I pulled out 2 of my more recent Hobonichis, one from 2020, one from this year that you can tell I literally did not fill out pretty much. I think I used like a month or 2. And then my 2020 was probably one of my most filled out ones, I would say. Yes, so let's talk about why and how I have been able to avoid this for 2024, and I really feel like I have satisfied the itch. So how I have surprisingly scratched the itch of not buying a Hobonichi Weeks this year is actually with this planner, and I will reveal the details of what this planner is in a minute. But first, I'm going to take you through kind of my thought process when I was thinking about ordering the Weeks. And the first thing that I'm going to start with of why I hesitated or even like started to rethink if I should actually order one, I have to say is the price. I don't know if it's just because of where I am or what it is, but I feel like the Weeks prices this year are the highest that it has been. Let me know down below if you guys agree, or maybe it's just me. But the regular Weeks like this, I think was almost $50 here in the local stationery shops. And if I was going to order online through the Hobonichi website, like unless you're going to order a whole bunch of stuff to make the shipping worth it, to order one item off the Hobonichi website is absolutely not worth it. And so that was my first thing about rethinking if I should actually order it, because there are so many good alternatives. I'll link a video up here that I talked about some of those. I won't go through those here, like if you want an exact, alternative of this, or even now with all the different planner shops that have their own variation of the Weeks, I just couldn't pull the trigger immediately because of the price, and it really made me stop and think. And I think a lot of it as well with the popularity of the Hobonichi Weeks is that yes, it's a good planner, but also it's the hype around, September and Hobonichi month, and everybody's going on this spending spree that you feel like you have to have one. And I don't think it's necessarily that you really need the Hobonichi Weeks. It's just that you're on the Hobonichi hype. I think for me, a lot of it as well is that it becomes like, it's like the notebook month. And I just want the idea and thought of a notebook because it feels comfortable, it's cute, it's nice to carry, it's nice to have all your stuff in one spot. And I was able to kind of scratch that initial itch of getting a new notebook type planner by getting this planner. And this planner, it's kind of got a random name, Sully Run 1981 planner, but I got this from Temu, and I will show you the listing right here and link it down below as well. It is so affordable, yet it's still the notebook feel, and I won't feel bad about whether I use it or not because it was so inexpensive. I like that, similar to kind of the Hobonichis, it's just a notebook that I could carry. And also, though, it has this really cool little pen holder on the side. And then I'll kind of show you the details of it in a minute. But I think the main thing was I was able to scratch that itch of getting a notebook just by buying a different notebook. Yes, it's not 100% a Hobonichi, and yes, maybe you don't feel like you're in that whole Hobonichi world, but it does satisfy some sort of itch of buying something in that month, as bad as it sounds, okay?
So now let me talk about kind of the 3 main other reasons why, after I thought about it, I decided not to get the Hobonichi Weeks. The first thing is, from a practicality perspective, this size is too small. Okay, it's not practical. The only thing that this is practical for is for pre-planning, I would say. Because the weeks, let me try to find one to show you, it's just so small. Like, look how tiny it is. How could you possibly write anything in here? How could you possibly plan your day in this amount of space? I cannot do it. I know there's some people who are really tiny writers, and so they're able to, like, you know, squeeze it in here and maybe do their lists here. But for me, I really like to see what do I have going on certain days. If I'm truly planning and being functional, I need to be able to write them out on the specific days. I don't love the dailies as much because I don't like to copy from the weeks over to a day, copy the next day over to a day, and then migrate daily tasks and all of that. So I like for my weeks to be really functional, and this is just not functional. It is so small. Like, how could you possibly make this functional? I know some of you guys are gonna come at me in the comments, and you know, I know a lot of people are able to make it work, but I'm just saying personally, the size it's too small. It doesn't work. And so that brings me to kind of this planner. This is more of the A5 size. So compared to this, yes, it's a little bit bigger, but for me, a notebook I find is already fairly easy to carry. So the fact that it's a little bit bigger doesn't bother me. I would prefer it to be more functional than be so tiny and I'm carrying it everywhere, but like I can't fit everything that I want to fit in it. Okay, so this size was very appealing to me. This notebook was very appealing to me. But Temu just has so many great affordable options, and they're actually having a big sale right now. So if you go check out their website, you'll probably find even greater discounts. I'll link some of the other stationery goodies that I found in a previous video, but they are just such an amazing place to find good, affordable stationery, as well as like a host of other things, literally from clothing to household goods. I've done a few videos on them already, and I showed you all the goodies that I found. I love getting my girls stuff from there because they just have amazing toys and costumes and literally everything that you could find. But I'm going to show you the quality of this as well as we go through this video, so you guys can kind of see for yourself how amazing the quality of this is. And I want to say a big thank you for Temu for sponsoring this video. So now then, the second reason what put me off of the Hobonichi Weeks is the layout. I've tried to make the horizontal work many a times, and it just clearly, it doesn't work. There's nothing else to say but that it's not functional. So I think most of us are either kind of a time-based planner, or we like to make lists. We're list makers. And that is more suited to the vertical layout, I think, because either you have the time schedule on each day, or you have a task list that runs this way, right? Task lists are usually written from top to bottom instead of kind of horizontal. And that's why you have notepads that you flip up and everything is written downwards. So the vertical layout just feels like a much more functional weekly layout for most type of planners. So I'm actually surprised at how many people do love this thing. And I think it's mostly because of how cute the size is. And of course, now there's so many different versions and smaller sizes that have kind of this vertical layout. And that's what really also drew me to this notebook, because it's laid out in such an interesting way where it has the vertical at the top that I could use as a timed weekly, or I can use them as a task list because it has a little box at the back, and then the bottom has space for you to do notes each day. Then you have like the weekly goal or what's happening this week, and then kind of an area for weather actually on the side for those of us who like to kind of keep track of the weather. It even came with these little cute little stickers that you could add. So that's what I loved about this. And then also, in addition to that, in this planner, I have been struggling with journaling for a long time. I've talked about this a lot, that I'm just not a journaler. So I'm trying to take little steps to get better at it, to practice gratitude, to just do a little bit of journaling. And in this notebook, I like that after each weekly where you do your productive stuff, behind it is a review of the week. And so you can check in with how you did this week in terms of tasks that you accomplished, you know, what's still unresolved, the special events that you enjoyed, look at your habits. things that challenge me, what annoyed me, things to learn, important notes. It feels like a functional way of journaling, and it reminds me that I should do it at the end of each week because it's right after my weekly before the next week. So I've just never seen a planner that was laid out like this actually, and if you guys have, let me know down below. So I just loved how functional this layout was, but also included the journaling aspect. And of course this planner does come with a monthly section as well. So I cannot believe that this planner was so affordable compared to the $50 price tag of this one, yet it's just as good quality, I feel like. And so that's kind of the layout factor. Now the next thing is the paper. Of course, there's a love and hate relationship with Tomoe River paper. Yes, it's very thin. It has that crinkly sound. It handles fountain pens very well, which people love. But the smearing, oh my gosh, the smearing, the weighting that you have to do. Like, I'm sorry, when I'm trying to be functional, I'm trying to write tasks down, the last thing I want to do is wait for the ink to dry and wait for my freaking ideas in my head to also dry, and then I forget about them. I can't do it. So here I actually did pen test of all of my fountain pens. I did all the different types of pens that I have. And there's no ghosting, there's no bleed through at all. This paper is very thick, it's very white, which I know some of us really love, and it's amazing. And I don't have to wait for things to dry. So there is other planners and paper that can handle fountain ink and markers and all that type of stuff. It's not just Tomoe River paper, which we kind of pride itself on, right? So really a combo of all those factors, the size, the layout, the paper, the price. I just couldn't bring myself to get one of these again, especially when there's just so many alternatives. Like this planner, I just cannot believe how good quality it is. It has this amazing thick cover. The paper is so thick, so white. It can handle so many different types of pens. I'm just loving the uniqueness of this layout. It comes with the bookmarks. It really is satisfying my notebook itch at just such an affordable price, like a quarter of the price. So I just couldn't pass on it, and it's really actually been able to scratch my itch of getting a Hobonichi. So I'm pretty excited about this, and so I highly recommend that you guys think about the possible alternatives out there before go ahead and get a Hobonichi Weeks if you are on the fence. I think this is a very hype planner, and some people love it, but for me it hasn't been functional, and there's just so many other options. And if you wanted to see some more Hobonichi alternatives that are kind of this size and layout, you can check out this video right over here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks to Temu for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!